Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 21 of the Jaycast Podcast. I'm your host, Jay.
And Jay.
And we got a lot to cover. We didn't get a chance to do the podcast last week. Like I said, man, we run pretty busy lives.
Nah, we were just chilling, bro. Tell the truth. We were just chilling. We didn't want to do anything.
Jay, we just discussed you talking so close to the microphone and just...
Shit, my bad. Damn.
People already giving us a hard time regarding our audio quality, and you...
Yeah, you're right.
And you want to go and mess it up. So, let's cut right to it, right? I saw the Barbie movie.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. How was it?
The Barbie movie was what you'd expect of a Barbie movie, but I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of people, a lot of the men who are saying that it was like a man-bashing film. It wasn't a man-bashing film in that sense. The film seemed more like of women airing out their grievances film on society, and then they bash men every so often. But that's just to throw red meat to like the fan base, some of the fan base, like the feminist fan base, the man-hating part of the feminist fan base. But one thing I like about the movie, they in the beginning of the movie, you ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey? It's fine, no. So in 2001: A Space Odyssey, they're showing monkeys, right? Like prehistoric monkeys in the beginning of the movie in 2001: Space Odyssey, and then this giant monolith, probably like an extraterrestrial monolith, shows up. Then the monkeys touch it, and somehow it opens up their mind. That they're like, wait a minute, we could do so much more as a species.
Yeah.
And then that's the evolution of humans and stuff like that. In the Barbie, they opened up with a similar thing where it was little girls playing with dolls, but not Barbie dolls, but like baby dolls. Where it was like, oh, is society preparing women to become mothers and stuff like that? Until like a giant monolith of like a giant Barbie monolith came, and the little girls, they touched it and they were like, wait, we could be more than just mothers type of deal. And that supposedly started the revolution of womanhood and stuff like that.
Got it.
That was pretty interesting. That was a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah, I've only seen the highlights of the movie, and I had a discussion with a sibling of mine, and we were talking about it, and she kind of told me like I guess I don't want to ruin it for people that haven't watched it.
Spoilers ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, screw it.
Spoilers ahead.
What she told me, and you tell me if this is right or wrong, because I haven't seen the movie, but I took her that person's word for it. The person basically told me that the point of the movie is that at the end, I guess Ken goes back. They both go back to their world or whatever. And is it the goal of the movie that men and women together are better? Is that it?
Yeah, but it's more like it's not Barbie and Ken. It's Barbie and it's Ken.
Oh, so Ken's living in Barbie's world.
Yeah, but it's more of a appreciation for the individualistic aspect of each of them.
Oh, okay, so both.
That's what it sounded like to me at the end of the movie. Now somebody else might come in here and say, well, actually no, but that's what it looked like. It looked more of the fact of like, look, it's Barbie and it's Ken. It doesn't have to be Barbie and Ken type of deal. It doesn't have to be you attached to me. It could be me and it could be you, and we could complement each other.
Got it.
That's what it seemed like to me. I was going into that movie fully prepared to be lectured as a man. I went with my wife. I was going in there fully prepared to be lectured of, oh, the patriarchy this and the patriarchy that and the patriarchy and the patriarchy and the patriarchy and blah, blah, blah. And they throw those words around, but it seems like it was just women just airing out grievances. I don't want to say women complaining, because who knows? I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know what they go through, but it seemed like it was just women airing out their grievances. You know what I mean? One thing about the movie that I found super interesting, right? So Barbie revolutionized, I guess, women in that era in a way that made them seem like, hey, we don't have to be just moms. We could be astronauts, we could be bankers, we could be presidents, blah, blah, blah. They have a Barbie version for all that stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
At that time, it was probably revolutionary an idea. Like, oh, you're making dolls for women and girls. That's more than just mom. There was a part of the movie where Barbie, she's in the real world and she meets a little girl, one of those brooding, emo-looking type chicks. Those teenager girls, right?
Yeah.
She goes to Barbie and she's like, you set the feminist movement back 50 years with your unrealistic body images and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. And then Barbie's talking to her, she's like, no, what are you talking about? I empowered women. I showed them like, if this is this. And it was interesting that it showed a disconnect between the current generation of women and the previous generation of women.
Wow.
Where when the Barbie came out, it was revolutionary and it wasn't a way to, I'm assuming in their head, to push women's movements forward, letting them know they could be anything. But this generation now looks at that generation as the purveyors of unrealistic body standards, when they probably weren't even thinking about that. Their focus was just putting women in positions that men could be in, like astronauts. So, it was incredible to see that generational gap.
Do you think it's really unrealistic standards? Or?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean, proportionate wise, yeah, obviously you're not gonna look like that, but look, man. One thing about men, we look at like jack dudes in the cartoons, like Goku. There's a meme going around where you see like Goku standing jacked up, and you see a whole bunch of men like, bro, that's totally me, bro.
Yeah.
And men look at guys who are built and jacked. We don't say. I have never ever heard a man say, that's unrealistic body standards. You know what they say instead? They're like, freak, man, I gotta go to the gym.
Yeah.
I gotta eat better. Like, good. It's supposed to make you feel like
motivate you.
Yeah, it's supposed to make you feel like you're not doing enough, so you can keep pushing forward. Always been okay with that to a healthy extent. But I don't think the whole thing about unrealistic body standards. Yeah, some models might have unrealistic body standards in terms of like photoshopping and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people use that as a way to get out of going to the gym.
Yeah,
like, bro, go to the gym. Go to the gym. Like, I understand that some of these things are unrealistic body standards, but at the same time, I don't see you eating healthy, or I don't see you going to the gym. So I don't want to hear what you have to say about body standards, body positivity, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll talk more about that later on.
Yeah, right? I want to keep talking about the Barbie movie. And there was a scene that I didn't like where Ken was in the real world too. And he walked around and he's like, wow, in this world. So basically, in the Barbie movie, Ken is like a second-class citizen in a way. Not in a bad way. Well, I don't even know you could say that in that way, but he's not the center of attention, basically. It's Barbie's world.
Okay.
Ken is just there at the beach or whatever. But in the real world...
Does he just like chill?
Yeah, he just chills.
Oh, okay.
He's with abs and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
In the real world, people are acknowledging him like, hey, sir, how are you? Do you have the time? Hey, can you help me with this? Hey, look, we have a library for this, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. He's like, wow, people are acknowledging... It's awesome being a man here. People are acknowledging me. I have a problem with that scene right there because most men don't get acknowledged in the real world.
Yeah, that is true. Wow.
And so that part of the message I disagree with, where Ken in the movie made it seem that the dude was getting acknowledged just for being a man, just because, which is not true, which is totally not true. He's like, people ask me for the time, people just give me stuff, blah, 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 this and the other. It's like, okay, this is, whoever made this movie, this is their idea of how a man's life is in the real world, and it's not true. Most men are invisible. It's just what it. And from what I've seen, most men, for the most part, are invisible. Nobody's asking him. He's like, oh, people respect me just for being a man. That was kind of like the.
So how are they respecting him in the movie? Were they saying hi, how are you? Or,
yeah.
So they're greeting him.
They were acknowledging him and they were asking him questions like, do you have the time? Blah blah blah. And he made it. They made it seem like.
But in that movie, did he already have like a role? Like did he come into the real world as a boss of a company or something?
No, he came as Ken. They just that's the ridiculous part of the movie. Like that's like the part of the movie.
But in the real world,
he was Ken.
All right, I get.
They left Barbie Land. They drove out of Barbie Land into like a different dimension.
Yeah.
And into the real world.
But when he landed in the real world, like who was he?
Ken.
The reason I say that is
he was just Ken. He didn't just show up like as a doctor. He was Ken and she was Barbie, and they were looking for the creators of Barbie and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was the funny part.
So
of the movie.
Did he look like abs and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, like the same thing you were saying earlier, that just being a regular guy is not enough for someone to acknowledge you.
But they think the movie made it seem like that's what it was.
Or it could have been any person that came into the real world from like...
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, they were like, yeah, the patriarchy is awesome. Like Ken was saying, like, the patriarchy is awesome. People just giving stuff. It's like, no, dude, come on, man.
No.
That doesn't help. That doesn't help the discussion between the sexes. And then there was one of the ladies in the movie, she went on a whole tirade about how she feels like she's not good enough and that all the standards that society has for her, and she feels like some of them are unfair, and then the people blah, blah, blah. And she was just going on and on and on and on. And I was like, okay, this is probably seems to be the point of the movie.
And when Barbie entered that world, the real world, how was she treated?
They weren't really.
I would think she would get the same thing, the same acknowledgement. You know what I mean? Because
So there was a scene where she, like, the guys were all catcalling
yeah.
her. And,
Oh, they were catcalling her.
Yeah, they were like, hey, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? The typical stuff, right? But
Yeah.
I think the point of the movie was when that lady was, not Barbie, but some other lady, she went on this whole huge tirade, just whole rant about the struggles of being a woman in today's society and, you know, all that stuff. And I'm not discounting it. You know, I don't know what you go through as a woman, but I think that was the point of the movies. They wanted to air out that grievance. It wasn't a man-bashing film like I thought it was going to be. I mean, some people might have done some different analytics and like, oh, no, look what they say here. They're trying to make it seem this, that, and the other. But there were parts of the movie where they try to make it seem that men do have it easier just for being men. Like Ken just showed up. And, you know, I think somebody somewhere...
He just showed up with abs and
Yeah.
the way he looked and everything. Or
Yeah, exactly. And then somebody somewhere within the screenwriting part of the movie must have been like, oh, wait, let's just add this to kind of balance it out. They
Yeah.
showed Ken going to the hospital and be like, hey, can I get a doctor's outfit? And they're like, no. Like, why? He's like, because you're not a doctor. Like, but I'm a man. She's like, okay, but you're not a doctor. They were trying to make it seem...
yeah.
They're trying to make it seem that he thought he can get that just because he was a man. It's like, no. You know what I mean?
No,
But-
I get you. Yeah, so at least they had a part where it's like, hey, yeah, you're a man, but there's certain occupations
they try to be as...
that both women and men have to work at, right?
Right,
To become something.
exactly. And there were certain parts where they were trying to come across as impartial, but they were just like stupid messages. Like Ken was like, "Hey, you know, I thought this patriarchy stuff is that active in this business?" And then one of the guys was like, "It's still active, but we just hide it a lot better." Like, come on, bro. Like, please, man. And it gets me annoying because it's. Are there men who are sexist? Yeah. Are there women who are sexist? Yes.
I mean, the real world is sexist.
Yeah, and
the way it is.
But you know, and when we talk about jobs and stuff like that, people are like, well, you know, men get hired over women or jobs discriminate against women. Well, it's not just people discriminating against women. I don't know if you saw the AI where it was filtering applications, and AI like heavily favored men over women.
Shit, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but and I'm assuming it wasn't because they were men over women. It's just if you look at the numbers, right?
Yeah.
It seems that women take more days off. And this, again, I'm not bashing. It's not a bashing thing. But according to the numbers, men work longer hours. Men do more dangerous jobs. If men have family, they tend less likely to not leave the job. They tend less likely to work harder and work for promotions and stuff like that. Because the well-being of the company is tied to the well-being of their job, which is tied to the well-being of their family. So all that stuff, you know what I mean? So the way the Barbie movie was not so much a man-bashing film as it was just women airing out what was bothering them. You know, I thought I was gonna get lectured to in that movie about, you know, what all the whatever women this and women that and women this and women that. But,
Yeah.
I mean, there was some of that, but it was just more. It was just more of that.
Okay. So it wasn't that bad then.
It was. You're gonna have to watch it.
I heard it was funny. Was it funny?
It wasn't a bad movie, bro. To be honest, it wasn't a. Would I watch it again? No. Would I watch it of my own volition? No. I watched it because my wife wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty good movie actually.
Okay.
Like it seemed like it was thought out in terms of like making it fun,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really a kids movie.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
I heard,
It wasn't a complete kids movie.
I heard about that. Yeah, that you shouldn't take your kid to see that movie.
Not if they're too young. I'd take like
Why? Was there any like?
I'd take my 15-year-old daughter to watch it. You know what I mean?
okay.
I wouldn't take my 8-year-old daughter.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But the I find it funny because it's like most of the people, like some of the men on YouTube, they're making it seem like it's like the most anti-male movie there is, and I'm like, did I miss something?
Yeah. See, I haven't seen the movie yet. So
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing based on the highlights that I saw.
Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be just but it
So it wasn't.
it was like, did I miss something in the movie? Did I not am I missing something now in how I'm looking at it?
Was there a part in the movie where like Ken, now that he's in the real world, he goes back to Barbie Land or something?
Oh, yeah,
and he tries
okay,
to
yeah.
take over or whatever.
Yeah, he does. He does take over. All the
Okay.
Kens take over, and they they remake Barbie Land in their image and stuff like that, and they have all the girls serving them and being waitresses to them.
Wait, so I have a question. Was Ken doing the same thing? Like before that, when Ken was like just chilling, was he serving Barbie?
No. He was just trying to get Barbie's attention, and Barbie kind of wasn't paying him no mind. Type. She was like,
okay.
he was like, "Can I sleep over?" And then she was like, "Nah, next time or whatever." Type of, it was stuff like that.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, the Ken's take over. Obviously, you're gonna make a movie about women like this. The guy's gonna be the bad guy. I wasn't. Maybe I just wasn't surprised. Maybe I walked in like, okay, of course they're gonna do that. Kens were the bad guys, and then they tricked the Kens into fighting each other.
Oh really?
Which is what they do kind of in real life.
What the?
They trick the men into fighting each other, and then when they fight each other, the Barbies somehow take control of Barbie Land, and then they're like, Ken,
So they manipulated the guys and then they
fight each other.
Oh, wow.
They weren't gonna fight the Kens, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And they're like, Ken, it doesn't have to be Barbie and Ken. It could be, it's Barbie and it's Ken.
Yeah.
I guess that was the message. Like, hey, we don't need to depend on each other to complete who we are as people.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like they were trying to go for. It was more of that than it was like men bad film. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's good, man. It had an overall good message.
But again, that's some people might analyze it in a way that I might be like, oh, I didn't even think about that, or I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, they had themes of the patriarchy is keeping women down in the real world, and men, it's easy being a man. You get acknowledged for being a man. And some lady in the movie was like, I have feelings and I can express them and still be logical. Like, all right, that's what you call red meat, right? You give red meat to your part of your audience members.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was that. But overall, it was, you know what I mean? It was okay. I wouldn't watch it again though.
What's the other movie that came out?
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, Oppenheimer. Did you see that movie? I heard it was really good. I haven't seen.
That's the movie I wanted to see, but my wife wanted to watch Barbie and I wanted to watch Oppenheimer, and I didn't want to be like,
yeah.
All right, you seem more excited to watch this movie than I am about Oppenheimer. We can watch the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was supposedly good, and there were some people who were trying to go out and like not go out, but trying to make the rounds on social media, trying to make it seem that Oppenheimer was like super celebrated for dropping the bombs, and that the movie was celebrating him dropping the bombs. Yeah. When in reality, it was like, no, it was, there were what's the word I'm looking for? Talking about and kind of investigating and analyzing like the complexities of making this bomb and what happened to the people who made the bomb, and how Oppenheimer didn't even want to like continue to drop the bomb after Germany surrendered, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He thought, okay, well, now we don't have to drop. I think it was something along the lines of we don't have to drop this bomb, but the United States was like, no, we're dropping these bombs. And how Oppenheimer was like, he was kind of anti-nuclear bombs after the war, and they suspended revoked his, his clearances and all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah. The thing about dropping the atomic bomb that people want to discuss this now is like, oh, should the United States have dropped the atomic bombs? Look, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but I will say this. The United States was attacked first. It's not like the United States just dropped bombs for no reason, okay? A lot of people, and again, I'm not saying, yeah, we dropped the bomb, blah, blah. Like, a lot of people, a lot of soldiers.
Be careful, man. They might just clip that.
yeah, and whatever, man. It's like a lot of people passed away or died fighting the Japanese at that time in the war with those islands. The way Japanese soldiers treated American soldiers who surrendered would have put them in, they would have been in trouble after the surrender with the whole Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor, all that stuff. And these guys were like, yo, number one, something, we can't keep sending people we can't keep throwing bodies at Japan. They're not going to surrender. You know what I mean? Number two, Germany was working on the bomb too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's what nobody was talking about.
Yeah.
And number three,
was Russia doing the same thing or not?
Afterwards.
Oh, afterwards, okay.
And number three, once those two bombs were dropped, the war was over.
Yeah.
That's it. No more people had to die. But what other people don't take into account of dropping the atomic bombs is that after we dropped those atomic bombs on those cities, right, we saw firsthand the destruction and the devastation, right, of what those bombs, of what happens when you drop atomic bombs. And I think that's been a pretty good deterrent for any other country.
Yeah, in the future.
You're right. Yeah. You imagine if we wouldn't know what the full power of the atomic bomb was and we just started dropping them.
Imagine it would have been like, I don't want to discredit any other war, but if it would have been like a small war that would have lasted like a few days and you just drop it just to test it out. Imagine just wipe out an entire town.
Yeah, dude.
Versus like a World War II where it's like a whole bunch of countries fighting each other. I
Yeah.
mean, they're both situations bad,
But the thing is, like, dropping the atomic bomb, I think, has done more. And I can be wrong. And I mean this with like a lot of respect, you know, to the Japanese people. It's like dropping the atomic bomb in the war has probably done more for nuclear deterrent and fear and respect of the weapon than just talking about it and saying, hey, we shouldn't use this. You know,
Yeah.
it's still fresh in people's minds what happens when those weapons are used. And it's like, all right, that's good enough for us to at least start talking about peace as much as that's happened. But I think the whole thing of peace through strength is important. I think the whole thing about pacifists, they're like, oh, I'm against war. It's like, you might be against war,
yeah.
but the people who are knocking at your door and there's the people who are at the gates, they're not against war. So either you got to show them that not only are you capable of war, but you're capable of war and doing way worse things to them than they are to you. And that'll get people to leave you alone.
Damn.
Then
That's how crazy. It sounds crazy, bro, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. You gotta show the monsters that you can be a bigger monster and a worse monster than they are. And that's what keeps the monsters at bay. See, what keeps the monsters at bay aren't pacifists, sad to say, right?
Yeah.
It isn't the people saying, hold hands and have peace. It's the people saying, I will kill you. Oops, I don't even know if you can say that.
I mean, you're not using it in a real threatening way, so I think we should be
It's the people who are saying, I will end your entire country.
Yeah.
And I won't lose a single ounce of sleep over it. Those are the people
Yeah.
that keep peace. You know what I mean? Those are the people that keep other people. It's like, what was this thing? The sheepdogs? The sheep. So you have the wolves, you have the sheep, and you have the sheepdogs.
Yeah.
The ones who protect the sheep.
Yeah.
The sheepdogs are the ones who protect the sheep, not the sheep.
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole phrase of peace through strength is very important. It's like,
And the thing is, like, sheepdogs are they're meant to protect the sheep, but they really don't go and hunt, right?
they don't go hunt,
But they're capable of like defending,
right,
so-
and ending the wolves
the
who try to
wolf's
attack.
life. Yeah, that's crazy, right? A dog.
Right, but that's the thing, right? And the reason to have strength, the reason to have power, the reason to be stronger than the next person is not because you want to use it against the next person. It's so that you don't ever have to use it.
To protect the weak, too.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, and you know, it's a kind of like a dirty conversation to have because nobody wants to talk about violence. But sometimes barbarians and people who look like people but are really animals, right?
Yeah.
The only way you stop those people is through violence or through the threat of violence. You know what I mean? And that's what
Yeah.
keeps them at bay. You don't tell them, hey, don't do this. Hey,
That's how it
stop
starts off, though.
Yeah, it's like, hey, stop doing this. Hey, why don't you just not do this? Simple enough, right?
Yeah, and
If
they start
anybody-
testing your boundaries.
They start testing your boundaries. They start taking advantage.
They start, moving into other countries, testing.
No, they start doing things that just are not acceptable. And before you know, you have a bigger problem in your hand because you didn't want to use force when you had to
True.
because it was uncomfortable. It's like when you have kids, right? Sometimes you have to have like difficult conversations with them and it's uncomfortable. You don't want to have them.
Kids test your boundaries. Yeah.
Sometimes kids, bro, some people spank kids. I'm not saying that, you got to spank them all the time. But if you do it right, you only have to do it right one time.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's it. And next time, every time you talk to them, they understand that there's more than just talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not advocating for people to beat their kids. That's wrong. But just one time. No, I'm serious. Sometimes some kids will listen. Some
Just
kids will
one
like,
time,
yeah.
that reminded me of that guy. What was his name? The guy that was saying that it's okay for their husband to hit.
Yeah,
What was his name?
MLD, MDS, whatever.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Dude, that guy's nuts, man. That's what happens with the whole Manosphere stuff now. Like, it's been taken over by, and then this guy did liposuction or something like that.
Yeah, dude, he's a little psychotic, man. Like after that whole situation that happened about him saying that it was okay for a woman to endure.
The Endure guy, yeah, on the whatever podcast.
Yeah, you know what? I delved into his content, and bro, he's like very. I mean, he doesn't. I want to say like he doesn't like manipulating his crowd, but he preaches a lot of things that he doesn't like himself actually do.
Exactly. And that's my problem with all
those. Fraud, I guess.
Yes, a fraud, bro. And that's my problem with all those. And now Andrew Tate, man. I would say like, hey, at least men have a man to look up to.
Yeah.
But this guy, man.
Well, to talk about Andrew Tate, I know that I've had discussions with a couple of my friends that were like, hey, you know, Andrew Tate has done this in the past, but I saw the most recent podcast with
Candace Owens, because he was on Candace Owens.
Yeah.
The black lady, Candace Owens.
It's messed up. I didn't know her name.
I mean,
I just knew about black lady.
Yeah, Candace
so
Owens.
he said this. He said he does not apologize to anything that he's done in the past because he did it out of need. That he's from the streets. He did this and that. So I was like, okay, I kind of.
Bro, he could have gotten a job. Was he too good to work a job?
That is very true. But he was, I guess, he was maybe trying to find a fast way of making money. And
I get all that.
Yeah.
But you're selling something to the people that you're criticizing.
yeah, but
For buying that product.
another thing he said that this happened over 10 years, and he's like, he finds it really weak that people are taking it out of context and basically bashing of something that he's already admitted to.
Yeah, but
bring it to light.
Yeah, he needs to apologize for that. Maybe he won't, and whatever.
I
But
don't think he will.
homeboy was out here talking about like, oh yeah, I had these girls on webcams out here, tricking men into $100,000, just give me all that money, and it's like, bro,
out of their whole,
these are the
like,
men that you're supposedly trying to help.
savings.
These are the men that you're supposedly trying to help. You're swindling them out of the money. You're a con artist.
I'm wondering, was he trying to help men back then though?
I don't know. I just don't want to. It's wrong. It's
Yeah.
You know what I mean. It's messed up. And then you're ripping. And then to top it all
It's
off, right?
unethical, yeah.
To top everything all off, you don't weaponize men's loneliness against them, right? Nobody cares about that. You went and you manipulated women into thinking that you're gonna be with them, so you get them working on webcams. Then on top of that, you take more than half of the money that they make for you, and you say it's taxes. Come on, bro. He's a fraud. He probably beat me up because he's like an MMA guy, but nah, bro. After a certain point, and you know what? I like Andrew Tate in terms of like the message that he was giving. It's like saying, wow, this guy's saying a good message, and then you find out he's selling drugs. You're like, all right, come on, bro. I liked it when you were saying this message, but you really turned out to be this.
But was selling drugs.
And not even apologize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
true.
it's one thing that he's on video, like, yeah, you know, I used to do drugs back in the day, and now you know that's not me anymore. And you know, it's one thing to do that, but to not even apologize for weaponizing, not even talking about the women that he ripped off, not even talking about the women that he manipulated, because some of those text messages that came out of him manipulating some women into like keeping her away from her family or whatever, just all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just all that. Weaponizing the loneliness of men and using beautiful women to swindle men out of their money to make money for you to then present yourself as a successful man, and then giving advice to other men by selling Hustlers University.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing is
another
freaked,
thing.
man.
That's another thing.
The whole thing is
the whole
freaked.
Hustlers University.
And it's like, yo, how you making? How are you the top G? You know, you be the top G by you wake up at 5 a.m. every day and you eat steak and you smoke cigars and you work out and blah blah blah. Like, and then you criticize women for doing OnlyFans when you made money off of that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole thing, bro, is freaked up. And you know, because the thing is, like, a man saying things like, oh, get your act together, go to gym, be in shape. That's a message that most men aren't hearing as much as they should, right?
Yeah.
So you got this guy saying, and you're like, you know what? Maybe he does some questionable things, but at least he's giving the right message to guys, for the most part, a message that's needed. Some of the other stuff you might not agree with, but that's fine. Then it turns out that, oh, he was supposedly, you know, human trafficking these girls. I'm like, well, you know, you got to find out the evidence, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was human trafficking them. It was that he had webcam business. Not illegal, whatever. He has webcam business. The women agreed to do it. They get paid. Questionable, but fine.
Yeah.
Then it turns out that he's swindling. He's using these women to swindle men out of money. The same men that he's trying to supposedly help. That was the messed up part. And then it turns out that the money that these women are making from swindling these men on his behalf, he's taking a big chunk of it and he's not even giving them what they're supposed to get. So all that is freaked up, bro. You know what I mean? So that's my issue with Andrew Tate. It's not his message, right? It's not his whatever people thought.
It's his actions, I guess.
His actions.
Yeah.
But his actions towards the people he criticizes, both women and men.
Yeah.
And then he made money off of that, which is fine. Whatever. Hey, you want to make money? But don't sit here and tell men what they're supposed to be doing. You shouldn't speak on that anymore.
Ooh.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. You know what I mean?
That's tough, man. That's
You were essentially a drug dealer criticizing the drug users for using the drugs that you provided for them. And then and then you're criticizing your runners, the people who move the drugs, I guess.
Yeah.
You're criticizing them for being runners, and you're criticizing the drug dealers for using the drugs, but you are the one responsible for providing the drug users with the drugs as well as the runners.
So he's a source.
He's the source. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody's doing webcam businesses, but you're supposed to be better than that. You know what I mean? That's my issue. It wasn't his message. It wasn't that he has like an anti-woman message. I don't think he has an anti-woman message. I think he had a good message for young men that they needed to hear, that resonated with young men. It was all those actions that he doesn't even, because if he were to apologize, like, yeah, I needed, I did it, I made a mistake, blah, blah, then you could be like, okay, hey, you know what? He was 20 or whatever, however old he was. A lot of us did stuff in our 20s that if it came to light, we'd have a lot to answer. We'd have a lot that we needed to answer for, but not even that. Not even that, dude.
I see.
That's the messed up part. Yeah, people admire him. He has the fast cars. He has the Bugattis, the mansions and the hot babes. Cool, good for you. And that's not even an issue. The issue is like, bro, you use that by you know better than an OnlyFans model. You know what I mean? You industrialized it. Like, why do I need to have one blonde chick, one Eastern European chick, when I can have 50 of them in multiple different locations doing webcam business? Give me all that money. Give me money. Yeah. It's like, oh, he did it out of need. Like, well, everybody get a job. Get a job.
Yeah, I guess he did it because he wanted to like make fast money and become multimillionaire or whatever.
Nobody ever looks at the drug dealer and says, well, he did it out of need and blah blah. Right? Nobody ever looks at the kingpins and say they did it out of needs. I'm not talking about the regular drug dealers, So that's my thing with Andrew Tate. His message wasn't the issue. It's just what he did in the past that he doesn't even want to apologize for. I don't even think he trafficked those women, to be honest with you. I think he did mentally manipulate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Into working with him, and for people to be like, and for people who are like, oh, well, she still had a choice. Yeah, but you could understand that there is a mental manipulation when the person that's there thinks they have a chance with you, so they do what you're asking because they think they're going to get to be with you, right? You can't say they had a choice there, but then also sympathize with the guys who watch OnlyFans and give money to OnlyFans models because they think they have a chance with those OnlyFans models. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, same situation. It's a different scenario, yeah.
Different genders, similar situations, same concept. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's deep.
Speaking of things that people aren't supposed to be doing is, you heard these Lizzo allegations, bro?
Just a little bit about it.
Hold on, because it's an ongoing investigation, and here at the Jaycast Podcast, we don't want to get sued. According to NBCnews.com, okay, article was published on August 1st, 2023 by Diana Dasrath and Tim Stello, okay? Former Lizzo dancers were weight-shamed and pressured while at a strip club, lawsuits say.
Wait, so who was at the strip club? Her and her staff members?
Yeah. So 3 former dancers have filed a suit against Lizzo, accusing the singer of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. But wait, there's more. Hostile work environment. They filed it on Tuesday. Seemed like it was August 1st. They also alleged that she pressured one of them to touch a nude performer at an Amsterdam club and subjected the group to an excruciating audition after leveling false accusations they were drinking on the job.
What the hell? So she's pressuring her staff members.
The dancers also accused Lizzo, a performer known for embracing body positivity and celebrating her physique, of calling attention to one dancer's weight gain and later berating, then firing that dancer after she recorded the meeting because of a health condition. The suit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court and provided to NBC News by the plaintiff's law firm also accused the captain of Lizzo's dance team of proselytizing to other performers and deriding those who had premarital relations while sharing lewd relational fantasies, simulating oral simulating oral intimacies and publicly discussing the virginity of one of the plaintiffs. The suit does not say if Lizzo knew about the allegations linked to the dance captain, Shirley Quigley, but the plaintiffs believe the singer was aware of the complaints about her, according to their lawyer, Ron Zambrano.
What the hell?
The suit names Lizzo, whose name is Melissa Vivian Jefferson, her production company, and quickly as defendants. In addition to accusations of hostile work environment and sexual harassment, the suit brings claims for religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment, interference with prospective economic advantage, and other allegations. Not every claim was brought against each defendant. So,
Like, who's orchestrating all of this? Was it her? Like, what the?
well, the only thing I care about is the Lizzo fat shaming portion of it. That's the only thing I care about. Yes, it's messed up that all these other things were happening. I hope they get justice if these things were true. You know, all the things, yada, yada, yada. Lizzo. So here's the thing about Lizzo and people like Lizzo. When I say people like Lizzo, I don't mean people who are fat, positive people. You know what I mean? Social justice warriors in general. That's what I'm saying. They spend their whole time trying to get you to embrace and accept low standards. Okay? Whether that's the food you eat with this whole meat stuff, whether it is the green movement by flying jets to tell you not to do that, whether it's the people in your preferences and who you want to date. Okay? These people make a living almost of pointing the finger at people and trying to tell them to that they're messed up for liking what they like, right? And that they're fighting the good fight, and that they wouldn't do such a thing, and that you're the bad person for doing such a thing. These people, at every single turn, at every single step of the way, have proven themselves to be just as bad, okay, as the people that they're accusing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for example, going back to Lizzo, the young lady, she's the body positive movement and all that stuff. She embraces her body. She says she likes that and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You would think that she likes that. She would go after a guy who looks like her. In that sense, you like it so much, right?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
But she didn't. She was in the inbox of Chris Evans.
Wow.
You know who Chris Evans is,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Dude was built like Captain America.
Yeah.
Now, that actually becomes difficult to defend because she wasn't in the inbox of a regular looking guy, a famous actor, let's say.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the inbox of like a regular looking actor who's not jacked up. She was in the inbox of a guy with a good physique.
Which is like against what she preaches, right?
Somewhat. It's not that she's preaching against good physiques, it's that she's love yourself this way.
So accept anything.
Right. Here's the bottom line. She doesn't really care so much about fat acceptance. And these people don't care about the other movements. They just want you to accept them specifically without them having to accept you unless you meet their standards.
Wow.
So in the case of Chris Evans and Lizzo, it's like, I don't even think she cares about the body positive movement. I think it's a blanket that she can hide behind to say, oh, I'm body positive, blah, blah, you got to accept me for who. But in reality, she doesn't care about that. She just wants to be accepted.
Do you think it's just she, or she's using that as like
It's anybody. It's the whole like S shaming, girls who have lots of.
But you think she's also doing it for like fans?
I guess, I don't know. I really don't care. My concern here is a bigger thing where it's like S shaming, girls who have a lot of intimacies and then they get shamed for that. They say that like, oh, you're S shaming me. They do it themselves to each other, way worse than how men could ever do it to them. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I mean, they're the ones that allow it. So
right. They do it and they S shame each other way worse than men can do it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Way worse, right? They don't care. The whole thing about, oh, don't S shame me, blah, blah, you gotta accept us for who we are. They don't care about you accepting them for who they are, the movement. They care about you accepting the specific person. They want you to lower your standards for them specifically. Okay. And this is true because if you tell them, would you be okay with your son dating a woman who has a past like yours? The answer is always no.
No, yeah.
Always. And if they say otherwise, they're either lying or they don't love their son. Okay? You follow me here?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing with the whole body positive movement. It's like, no, they don't care that whether you accept obese people or not. They just want you to accept that specific person. They want to have high standards for themselves, case in point, with Chris Evans, while at the same time demanding that you lower your standards for them.
Oh wow. Damn, the way you broke it down, yeah, that's That's messed up, man.
They don't care about this movement insofar as I can use this movement.
That's hurting others.
They don't care about others. These people don't care. These people are just as bad as the people that they accuse of being bad.
But do you think this is coming individually from her, or is it like her manager?
It's everybody. Everybody's dirty. Either people know this movement is not true and they just want to get money off of it, so they do it.
Yeah.
People know this movement is nonsense, but they also don't want to be held accountable for letting themselves get to how they get or for committing acts that they've done in the past, right? So they hide behind this movement.
This is like
for
straight
protection.
up like marketing.
Yeah, it's like when guys say, "Oh, women only like men who are in shape and have money." Well, then get in shape and make a little bit of money.
Yeah. Instead of saying, "Nah, accept everyone."
There's no men's no money movement.
Yeah. Yo, you're right.
There's no like accept me for how my bank account looks.
Or accept obese men.
Yeah, and women shame guys like that, and I think that's messed up, right? Especially if they're trying to get their acts together. But there's no men out here starting movements saying accept men.
Not yet, bro.
Not yet, but even then, I wouldn't co-sign a movement like
Yeah.
that. Saying accept men for not getting their act together, not trying to do anything with their lives. Accept them for that. Nobody would tolerate that, and they shouldn't.
Yeah,
and they shouldn't.
yeah.
But the case of the matter is this: these type of movements, their main goal is just to get you to lower your standards for the individuals within that movement, while they at the same time are allowed to keep their standards. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they can get the best, and you can just get whatever. And they try to trick you into thinking, I'm a 10. You know what I mean? They just keep saying that lie over and over and over.
No matter what you say, I'm a 10, yeah.
Contrary to everything, they think that by saying I'm a 10, or they think that by saying body positivity, that changes the reality.
Well, that sounds like a lot of subjects that are going on around.
Yeah.
I'm this and I'm that, but it's against science, against the truth. It's like
exactly. These are just the two subjects, and the whole thing with Lizzo doesn't really surprise me.
Wow, dude, all these events correlate each other.
Yeah, they're all connected. It's part of the whole culture war thing, right? But the thing with Lizzo doesn't surprise me at the very least. Number one, the depravity, whatever that goes on in the music industry in Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is probably mild compared to what's going on. Lizzo shaming other women who look like her just for looking like her is just proof to me that these people don't care about these movements. They definitely don't like that look.
They don't,
on themselves, right? They just hide behind the movement for protection, so that when you say, "Hey, maybe you should watch your health," they can reflect back and say, "You're shaming me, body positivity." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have unrealistic standards, like we talked about in the beginning. Like, so when you're having a healthy weight,
so what are they gaining out of it? Just hiding?
They feel comfortable because nobody's holding them accountable. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot. Like,
so in a way, they're lowering their own standards too.
No. They want you to lower their standards.
That's true, but they want you to lower their standards to their standards.
They want you to lower their standards to the level that they're at, while you maintaining a high standard for yourself. So I think it basically is like, I want you to accept me for who I am.
Yeah.
Regardless of the things in my life that I can change, that I choose not to. While at the same time, I expect you, okay, to be on top of everything in your life and be as good as you can in everything in your life. That's the key. That's what they want. That's what they want. With the green movement, I want you to stop using your gas stove. I want you to stop driving. I want you to stop eating meat. While I'm flying around in my private jet to a 5-minute location, while I eat the best food, the best and rarest meats.
Not only that, it's crazy. I'm pretty sure they're burning enough gas that the guy will never,
Yes.
or the individual person will never burn their whole entire lifetime.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
insane.
I want you to lower your standards, while I get to keep the expectations of having high standards. That's everywhere. Green movement, body positivity.
When did you
dating
think this
movement.
started? Was it always like that? Was there always movements like this, or just more prominent now, or
I think there was movements that try to start like this, but people just kind of brushed it off like, "Get out of here, man! Are you stupid?"
now people are.
What do you mean somebody can be a opposite gender or whatever? What do you mean that it's okay to look like this? What do you mean that you're gonna be able to have a whole bunch of intimacies with a whole bunch of guys, and then some guy just has to accept you after he worked his whole life to get this money? What do you mean that this woman who's a nurse and who's a doctor, who's got her life together, that you as a man with nothing to offer, you're gonna walk into her life and get entitled? What do you mean about all that stuff? Was just thrown away before. but we ignored it because it was so ridiculous that we're like, it's like if you try to warn me, hey Jay, a unicorn is coming. Yeah, all right, well, this guy's nuts, whatever. Hey Jay, a unicorn is coming, whatever. And then the unicorn shows up, you're like, what? People actually, this thing was actually a thing? This thing was actually a problem?
Yeah.
We let it fester for too much and we didn't snuff it out when we could have. And now we're dealing with the social fallout.
Yeah,
of
but
that.
in the situation you just mentioned, like the unicorn would never come because it's not real.
Exactly.
So it's like,
And I think, and you know, the problem goes back, you know, the problem goes back to just no father figures. All
you
these
think
people,
so?
bro, I'm almost positive that all these people, I put money, bro. I would put all my money, if we were on the blackjack table, I would put all my money on that.
Yeah.
On the fact that all these people, all these movements that just are ridiculous, all the people who are in that movement do not have a good relationship with their dad. I'm almost positive.
Wow.
Ain't no way you're gonna tell me that a guy who had a father, strong father, cared about the kid, cared about his wife, gave a good example,
Yeah.
is gonna grow up and follow one of these movements. Hey, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. It's possible. Some of these guys send their kids to college and they get brainwashed or whatever.
yeah,
you know what
they
I mean?
come back, they're different.
Yeah. But for the most part, bro, there's a verse in the Bible that says, teach your kids in all the right way. I'm paraphrasing. Teach your kids in all the right ways so that they never depart from you. And I think that's true. I think that even if the kid gets brainwashed a little bit, the values that you instilled in him or her are so deeply profound in their hearts that they don't know that what they're doing might not even be wrong. And they might even be able to save themselves in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn, that's true, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of these issues come from people who have issues with their dads, you know. And I wanted to talk about one more thing before we finish the podcast. There's a guy by the name of Gonzalo Lira. He used to go by the name Coach Redpill. You might not like the guy. He was living in the Ukraine during this war, and he made the mistake. And I say it's a mistake, but he made the mistake of criticizing the Ukrainian government. And I say it's a mistake not because he's wrong to do it. I say it's a mistake because, like, bro, you're in a corrupted country and you're criticizing the government while they're at war. Basically, when you're at war, a lot of things kind of get suspended. Some of them are human rights.
Was he a citizen of that
He
country?
was a citizen, I guess, but he was criticizing the Ukrainian government. Seems like he was being pro-Russian a little too hard.
Yeah.
And they threw him in jail. He didn't do anything. He wasn't like shilling information to Russia or anything like that.
he was
Supposedly,
he was just talking.
vocalizing his opinions.
Yeah.
Well, now he's in the Ukrainian jail, and people are celebrating the fact that this man got put in jail for having an opinion. People are celebrating that a much bigger.
Wait, was that the guy they kept like barging into his house or whatever?
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I heard.
The people are celebrating
Wow.
this because they're like, yeah, finally somebody shut him up, or whatever the case is. Like, they're celebrating the fact that a bigger, stronger organization came and bullied a guy for not breaking any laws, but just because he had a different opinion.
Yeah.
And threw him in jail, while at the same time celebrating Ukraine fighting against a bigger, stronger organization trying to come into their country and bully them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's messed up. I think just because you don't like somebody, you might not like their opinion, you might not like what they have to say, but wanting them to, put in a work camp, dude, for 20 years or whatever, for having an opinion,
Yeah.
it's messed up.
I think 19 years or 20. I heard about it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're celebrating that, like, just because you don't like the guy, it's messed up.
So who put him there? Ukraine?
Yeah, the Ukraine. He was trying to escape Ukraine.
Are they considered like a democracy or?
No, they're actually one of the most corrupted countries in Europe, from what I understand.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And people celebrating that. The same people who are pro all these other movements, they're just as bad as the people who they think are their enemy, and they've done and will do things that are just as bad as the things that they've accused their supposed enemies for doing. That's it. That's it. That's what makes the American Revolution kind of like beautiful in a way. Where it's like, after they freed themselves from Great Britain, or I don't know if it was Great Britain at the time, but after they freed themselves from the British, George Washington, they wanted him to be the king.
Yeah.
He could have been what he was fighting against. And he said, no. I'm running for president. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. That's it. And he stepped down. And that could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But That's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think this was a pretty good episode, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
I did a lot of talking, and Jay did a lot of listening.
Yeah, man. I just haven't watched the movie yet, and the whole Lizzo thing, I was mind blown off that. So
I'm not surprised. I'm more surprised that more of these don't come out.
yeah, it's
Like when Obama
and the thing is, like, there's so many things coming out, and it's in our faces, and we're just accepting it, man.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like recently, like before we end, Obama's over here talking about the taxes and the rich getting the taxes and blah blah blah, and
A lot of these politicians, after they retire, they're like multimillionaires, man.
But he was criticizing the rich people for not paying their taxes, and then he got caught using the same loopholes rich people do to not pay his taxes.
Yeah.
And it's like, these people are hypocrites. That's
What was that lady that was the Speaker of the House? Or
Nancy Pelosi? Oh,
yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Supposedly, dude, she's like worth over $400 million.
I don't know how. Like, you know what I mean?
And they're saying that she would have to serve her like current position more than I think 42 times, bro, lifetimes.
Yeah,
That means that's like over 400.
But these
years.
are the people you think
over 400 years of serving to actually make that amount of money.
But these are the people think have their backs.
And you know how much she reports a year? Supposedly $90K, bro.
Of course,
She writes off everything, deducts it all the way to $90K.
and then she turns around.
That's
and
insane.
says
bro.
that Donald Trump is the guy, the ills of America.
Do you
are the
think?
result of
Do you
Donald
think
Trump.
it's because the other side, the right side, I guess that's the word that they use nowadays. They're not using the same tactics.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
don't they shed light to their side too?
Exactly. You know what it is?
It's like what you said in the beginning of this podcast, that basically you have to kind of like fight fire with fire, but be more intense, right?
So there's a meme that's like society says help us, the Republicans say no, right?
Yeah.
And society help us or please help us, and then the Democrats say no, but then they have a hashtag LGBTQ, hashtag rainbow, hashtag BLM. The marketing of the Democrats is we care about you, look how much we love you, and blah blah. The Republicans don't say how much we love you. The Republicans are a business party.
Do you think this should change?
No, man. I think
but should they shed light?
Yes, that's what they should do. They should do more of shedding of lights, because it's like, bro, it's not the government's job to love you or to even care about you. But guys, we'll talk.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.